Many times when we study the Bible, we find that it's very specific. And at times it seems like it's very general and puts general statements out that the God leaves us to interpret. And at other times, he will go through lists of generation, the children of children, name after name, place after place. And we see this happening in Genesis chapter 10, when he basically takes the sons of Ham, sons of Japheth, and sons of Shem, and he divides them up specifically through their generations and through that lineage. And a lot of times when we read that, it's very boring. We're just looking at the begats, and this is the son of this, and this one did this. But buried in chapter 10, we see a name that stands out that we need to understand. Remember, the people have just come off the ark. They are multiplying, and they're spreading throughout the world. And the Hamites actually went down to Africa, but they also went a little bit eastward as well into the plains of Shinar. And in that plain is the Tigris and the Euphrates River, and there the descendants specifically of Ham, and one of his grandsons was Nimrod, who established several key cities that we're dealing with even today. Now, these were the people that were not of God, and Nimrod, the name, nobody knows what really it means. They think it's a Mesopotamian name, but they seem to relate it to him being a hunter because he was a great hunter. And a lot of people think that he was very proficient with the bow and the arrow, and he could hunt animals down, but it could be that he was a hunter of men and that he used his verbal skills to entice men and ultimately his cities into rebelling against God himself. And the cities that Nimrod built were Babel, which we're going to look at a little bit later on, Babylon, Nineveh, Babylon, which is in Iraq, and Nineveh as well. You know Nineveh by the modern name of Mosul, which has been an ISIS stronghold and recently captured. But it's interesting that this goes all the way back into Genesis, where we see some of the names that we're even dealing with today, some 3,000-4,000 years later. Now, when the children of Ham started spreading into that Tigris, Euphrates valleys, the plains of Shinar, and they started building that city of Babylon. I'm going to read a little bit about this in chapter 11 now. And the whole earth was of one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, they found the plain of the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, Go, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick and stone and slime they had for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Well, what they did, they came together in unity. And folks, let me tell you, if they had been in unity with the direction of God, just think what they would have accomplished. If the sons of Noah had stayed in unity with God throughout these generations, just think what God could accomplish through man on the earth itself. But no, they rebelled against God. And here Nimrod, who I think led people astray, started building this tower to Babel, this city of Babel and the Tower of Babel, which was trying to reach up above heaven and challenge God himself. Can you imagine? You know, they used brick. And when you think of brick, brick is handmade. It's something that man puts together himself and creates himself instead of stone. Contrast to what God said to build the altars out of. Natural stones, not a chisel, not a hammer to be on them, nothing to hold them together. God uses the things that he has made But man wants to use the things he has made to make a name for himself, to compete with God, so to say. And God saw the people, and they were making progress. And the reason they were is because they were in unity. And unity of a people, of anything coming together in unity, then suddenly the impossible becomes possible. In fact, Jesus himself in John chapter 14 prayed that man would be one as he and the Father are one, to come together in unity. Folks, I see incredible things happening in church services when the congregation and the pastors and the praise team all come together in total unity as touching one thing, and then miracles start happening, salvation start happening, restoration, forgiveness, all the things of God happen in unity. And God is a God of unity. God wants his children to come together as one under him. And you know, the devil, he wants to divide. He wants to divide and conquer. And that's what he is. He's a divisor. He's a separator. He wants to pull people away from each other and from God himself. Folks, even in some of these seem trivial chapters, God has put specific information that is there that will lay a foundation for us to learn even more down the road. And I pray that you and your congregation and your pastor and your praise team come together every Sunday as one in unity together with God, so that the miracles that God wants to perform can come to pass.